kidThunder. Only kidThunder.
It began in 1931 when cartoonist Chester Gould created the well-known comic strip that you will see in the funny section of most Sunday newspapers, entitled Dick Tracy. And it still runs to this very day thanks to new artists and writers. According to many stories in the comic strip, it generally ends in gunfight confrontations. The comic strip would eventually evolve when the banana raincoat wearing detective would end up wearing things such as a two-way radio wristwatch. You know what? Samsung and Apple have obviously made that sort of inspiration into a reality. But let's not forget, Power Rangers also got that sort of inspiration with their power communicators. In this episode, I will only focus on the NES version, which is showcased right here, considering this is the version that I have played when I was a kid, and this is the version that I currently own right now. There was a Game Boy, a Sega Master System, as well as a Sega Genesis version of this game too. However, all of them are completely different games. The NES version showcased here is published by Bandai and developed by Real Time Associates. So right now, let's see how this game stacks up. Anyway, in a nutshell, this comic strip series is generally film noir and science fiction thrown together as years gone by. So would Dick Tracy himself. Dick Tracy was also in film as well as a comic book line, as well as a TV series prior to being adapted into the 1990 film, courtesy of Disney. Many of us know that had an all-star cast, including Warren Beatty himself, who starred as the Yellow Suit Detective, as well as Al Pacino, Madonna. Hell, Dick Van Dyke was also in this film. The film itself was met with subtle praise, but unfortunately it had a disappointing performance in the box office. You play as the yellow jacket wearing detective, Dick Tracy, and it's all up to you to go after that slime ball, Big Boy Caprice, and all of his henchmen that are responsible for all the crimes that are going on around the city. If you are playing this game for the first time, it is highly recommended that you take a look at the notepad to see what clues are on there before you venture out on the streets. Otherwise, you get thrown into the action and will become very confused on what to do or where are you supposed to go. Speaking of the streets, when it comes to navigating, notice the places that are indicated with the street number and letter, which you will know what street you are located at. Granted, there is no map screen you will find, but at the same time, you'd probably will figure out where to go in no time. There are two common problems while you're driving on the streets. One, when you make a turn at an intersection, it will automatically lock itself onto the direction you want to go. Two, the snipers generally shoot you at random. You have to get out of the car by pressing the select button and fire back at them. Occasionally, a brown civilian car will be driving around the streets. If you were to get hit by it, it would drain a portion of your health. The civilian car would not even take damage, even if you shoot at it. In the side-scrolling parts of the game, this is the part where cases are generally solved at. You can pick up powerful ammunition such as a Tommy gun or tear gas. However, they come in extremely limited quantities, but I can deal with that. When it comes to attacking, you are regulated to using your fists for the most part, but using your handgun may come in handy, especially when dealing with gunmen. Do not shoot at the unarmed thugs or you will get a piece of your health taken away. You can climb on ladders and pipes in this game, especially if you think there are items such as clues are hard to reach. On some side-scrolling sections of the game, there will be suspects you will have to encounter. Arrest the wrong one, you'd have to restart the case all over again. Sometimes you'd encounter a suspect to chase. In order to stop them, you have to shoot them consistently until they spin out and stop. If you are in need of help, some of the side-scrolling stages will have first aid kits. Problem is, you can only carry 2 at a time, so carrying a third one will not make the amount go higher than you can carry. In order to use it, you will have to press B and select at the same time, and then your health is refilled to the max. Another problem with this game is when you die, that's it. Game over, no continues. It will take you back to the first developer screen. But thankfully, there is a password feature that can let you continue where you left off. After you arrested the correct person solving each case, there is a password that is provided to you at the very end. Be sure to take notes and write it down so if you decide to stop playing the game, you can play it at a different time. I can't complain too much on the graphics, however. They're not bad, but at the same time they're not the most spectacular graphics I've ever seen. It can often appear a little stiff, but considering the style and genre Dick Tracy fall in, it's pretty decent and it fits well enough. The cutscenes are okay, but presentation wise, you can only make it as good as possible. If anything this game is probably best at is the music. The composers who wrote and arranged the score gives the game a perfect setting of all the moods that take place. Overall, the entire soundtrack is very catchy and gets you pumped at the play, let alone it's very memorable. Dick Tracy for NES is actually another movie tie-in that is often looked down upon for its difficulty. Sadly, gamers have bypassed it and looked at it as if it's a licensed product that is often seen as an incoherent pile of dog poop. I am inclined to disagree with anyone who thinks this game is unplayable. And the only reason people would quickly shoot this game down to hell is because of the Angry Video Game Nerd episode. I remembered witnessing my big brother, who is a comedian, finish the game in its entirety while we were little kids growing up. I would think, coming from his personal experience, he would think it's actually pretty good to play, but you have to be a real master to complete it.